recording audio, because that's how we do it. Oh, shit. All right, so now we have gone to virtual land in this quarantine era of ours. Over here, I believe in this little corner right here, you'll see the artistic director of OSP, which we're going to have a chat with, James P. Darvis. What's up, James?
Not much, relearning Sal and Maya. Thanks for having me on.
First little game that we like to play in this little creation that we've made up is something called 15 to Places. So I am going to ask you 15 quick fire questions. They are very random. They are somewhat odd, but feel free to answer them as quickly as you can. Free associate with me. Don't think about it too much. These aren't SAT questions or anything. I even think they canceled the SAT, so nothing exists anymore. We are flying blind, my friend. Alrighty, 15 to Places starts now. Number 1, give us your full name.
James Patrick Darby.
Number 2, what is your favorite play, movie, and book?
The Shadow Box, The Hours, and Anna Karenina.
Number 3, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Number 4, on a scale of 1 to 10, how weird are you?
9.
Number 5, as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
An actor.
Number 6, a quarantinable, binge-worthy Netflix, Hulu, or Prime show you are either watching right now or recommend. Go.
Atypical.
Number 7, if your current love life were an emoji or a GIF or a GIF, if you're a weird person that pronounces it that way, what would it be?
Is there one with a gun to the head?
It's a squirt gun now, so would a squirt gun work?
That'll work.
All right, cool. Number 8, have you ever Googled yourself?
Yes.
Number 9, if this quarantine lasts forever and all your human needs, such as food and water, are taken care of, what 2 items would you want to have with you?
My mother and Madonna.
Number 10, choose a superpower.
Flight.
Number 11, nudity on stage, yes or no?
If it's needed, yes.
Have you ever been nude on stage?
Pretty dang close.
Gotcha. Number 12, what is your favorite Saved by the Bell episode?
I'm so scared.
Excited! I'm so scared!
Jessie.
Poor Jessie Spano.
I love her.
Ooh, Showgirls, one of my favorite movies.
Totally one of my favorite movies.
Number 13, have you ever missed an entrance on stage?
No.
2 more, my friend. Number 14, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Kissing a Fool by George Michael.
In one word, what are you feeling?
Anxiety.
I think you and a lot of people, my friend. So that was 15 to Places. It's a scary moment in theater right now. Do you feel or do you see theater coming back different in any way?
I surely hope not. It may. I'm not quite sure what the difference would be, but I love theater just the way it is and the way it's always been. I mean, I even had trouble when they started using projections. That's how much of a traditionalist I am. So I hope that it stays the same way. I hope that it's an intimate experience between a group of actors and an audience, and there's some lights and some sounds and maybe some music, and we just simply tell a story.
But I know your thoughts on interactive theater and immersive theater. Theater, which is, and that's kind of like, or has been all of the rage recently, but now maybe that's the question, does that change going forward?
I hope it goes away forever. I can't stand it.
Why can't you stand it? Go ahead. Here's your virtual pulpit. Here's your soapbox. In 30 seconds or less, tell me, what does James P. Darvis, the artistic director of OSP, have against immersive theater? Go.
Audience members aren't actors. Audience members haven't studied. Audience members don't know the rhythm that the directors created. Audience members, their role is to sit and view the piece of theater and then have hopefully wonderful conversation about whatever topics were touched upon in the play when it's over. I don't know. I bet a lot of people are gonna not like that I answered the question that way, but I like that fourth wall. I think the fourth wall was built for a reason. The performers stay on this side and the audience stays on that side.
Yes, let's talk about you. You come from a little, would it be categorized as a little town in Ohio?
It would be a little town in Ohio called Vermont.
How little? Show us Southern California folk how small is it? It's Vermilion, right? Ohio?
Yep, Vermilion in Ohio on Lake Erie. I'm really bad with numbers, hence why I'm in the theater, I think, but I would say we had one high school in the whole town, and I knew everyone in there, so it was pretty small.
So 29, you see a map of the U.S. Do you throw a dart somewhere? Do you go, okay, West Coast sounds? How did James P. Darvis end up in San Diego, California?
Oh, here we go. So James P. Darvis had a pastime that he thoroughly enjoyed, and it was cocaine. Loved it. Did it every minute of every day, probably for, I'm gonna say maybe 7 years, without much of a adverse reaction to my life. I went through 2 outpatient rehabilitation centers and joined Alcoholics Anonymous and NA Anonymous to try to get all that stuff together. Unfortunately, that didn't work. So I received an eviction notice from my beautiful little apartment on Lake Erie that I'd had for a long time. And the first thought that came to my mind was San Francisco, because I'm a homosexual, and I thought that was kind of the mecca of where I would go. It would be my pilgrimage for my people. And at that time, I had been training a gentleman by the name of Nick Lizaldi, and I wasn't very kind to him for a while, just because my brain wasn't in the right spot. So about a week after I told my bosses that I was planning on moving to San Francisco, Nick Lizaldi asked me if I had a job. And I said, absolutely not. And he said, well, have you ever thought about San Diego? And I didn't know much about San Diego other than the chicken. And then...
the San Diego chicken, you mean, right?
Well, I mean, now that I live here, there's more than that chicken, but that was the only chicken that I had visualized about San Diego. And then Three's Company, I think, may have been filmed. The opening was filmed here. I don't know, or I made that a memory that might not be true. So chicken and Suzanne Summers were the only 2 things I knew. But Nick Lizaldi said, well, my family owns a restaurant in San Diego, and I could make sure you had a job the day that you arrived. So I then just went more south on the map and drove across this, some of the country is really beautiful and some of it's really asinine, ignorant, backwards. And so there was a pretty much equal traveling through those different areas. And I arrived in San Diego in May of 2008. And I walked into Old Town Mexican Cafe, which is where I worked until last Tuesday. I mean, I really hope that I'm working there again because it's a family. It's a life net that I walked into that place and I was grabbed and hugged and I felt safe. And after so many years of living in a false identity, to be able to slowly peel back who I was. And
how long have you been sober?
It will be 12 years on May 4th of this year.
So let's talk a little bit about OnStage Playhouse. So for...
That's a perfect segue. Big pile of cocaine, OnStage Playhouse.
What do you see after all of this quarantine's long gone? I don't even want to talk about it anymore. What do you see the future of the stories being told at your theater?
Very good question, winning some, I'm in Maya. I would say it is my hope that I see it, it's right over there. I would hope that I see more trained thespians coming in the door, as in directors, as in designers, as in actors. That's always a wonderful thing. Not that volunteers don't do an amazing job, because they do anywhere in any type of involvement that they are, but when you have somebody who has trained in any area or has spent a very, very long amount of their time and energy to, say, creating costumes. That person is more apt to understand when they sit down with the director and the director gives them the vision of the show in the director's mind. They're more apt to be able to wrap their brain around a concept. I'm hoping that we get more coverage from local critics. I'm hoping that we get more coverage from local news media. I know that's difficult when a long-standing element of society takes somewhat of a sharp turn into a different direction. It's going to take a little while for people to understand that there's growth and there's change. And so maybe it'll take a minute before they all come out to support us. Don't get me wrong, we're supported by a very large portion of the people in town, and I'm completely grateful and sometimes awestruck by it. However, there's other publications and other critics, per se, that I'd love to have come down and see the work that we do. The work that we do is wonderful. It's thought-provoking, it's well planned out, it is of a high production value, and it deserves to be seen right alongside all the other theaters in the San Diego area.
That's it. Drop. I don't know if you have a microphone. Drop that. Drop it.
Just threw it on the floor by this bagel that's been sitting here for 3 days. There isn't a bagel on the floor. I clean meticulously. Carry on.
So we're wrapping up here. I want to always end these chats in something positive, something that we look forward to. Because I like everybody, or like almost everybody, I won't generalize. Theater's not going anywhere. Live theater in San Diego is not going anywhere. San Diego has an amazing theater community, and you're seeing it on social media right now, like with what you were doing right here, what other theaters are doing around town. My question to you is, at what point in the process, in the past, when you have directed a show or even been in a show, what moment in that process has made you the happiest?
2 answers. Sorry, I'm not great with, what is it, brevity? Is that a word? I don't know. Sometimes I hear things that I think they mean something, but being brief. As a director, it's the first time I read the play. And I know that it's a story that I have to tell. I get so excited. Every one of the shows that I've directed, I believe, 10 full-length shows here in San Diego, and then a bunch of little festivals type things. But those 10 shows that I have directed, the first time I've read them, I fold the book closed, and I just simply know that it's a story that I want to put 6 months of my life into. Either because of the way the characters are written, or the way the play is structured, or the overlying theme of the play. So there's that. And then as an actor, I would say the applause.
You know what? I have to end it right there. That's it. Right there. James P. Darvis, first of all, again, thank you so much for allowing this. This is going to be the first of many interviews. Hopefully they're going to be wacky, they're going to be a little interesting, but what we want people to do as they're locked up in their houses, hopefully not that much longer, but if so, we want people to chat in any which way and get to know the people that you've seen on stage at OnStage or at other places around town. And I thank you for being my very first one about how to donate to OnStage Playhouse. How would someone, if someone sees this and goes, you know what, I want to give them a couple bucks, because I know rent is still being asked for. Any dimes, dollar bills, anything like that. Where do they go?
Super simple. So 2 options currently. It's going to onstageplayhouse.org. There's a big fat donate button, on the front screen. I don't know what that stuff's called, on the whatever. First thing you go to, that one. It says donate. Click that, donate $1, donate $1 million, anything in between. So grateful. Or if you want to send a check, which is a piece of paper, some numbers on it, you can send a personal check to 291 3rd Avenue, Chula Vista, California, 91910. And like I said, it'll be safe, because I leave my quarantine to go to 291 3rd Avenue, Chula Vista, about every 3 days. And I make sure I grab the mail and I bring it in. And then more likely than not, you're gonna get a really super cool email from me personally, thanking you so very much for taking the time and the money to support a tiny nonprofit in a time of fear.
Bringing a new voice to 3rd Avenue, to the South Bay, and that's something that's near and dear to my heart. So thank you so much for the opportunity. OnStage Playhouse, like I've told you a billion times, is going up, up, up. And all those reviewers and all those people and all of the other human beings that haven't stepped inside there in a while, I know will, and as the work and the amazing work that you're doing keeps going forward. That is it. I'm not kissing ass anymore. Done. You can have the last word. Go ahead.
This is Madonna. She sits on my windowsill, and the day that Madonna walks into 291 3rd Avenue, I will have an aneurysm. Thank you so very much for supporting OnStage Playhouse. Solomon Maya, thank you not only for supporting OnStage Playhouse, but for kind of being one of my best friends in San Diego. Deuces, I gotta go. Be well.
Are you sure that's not Lady Gaga?
Are you still recording me? I'm gonna kill you!